and we are ready to go. We are ready to go. We have in studio Pastor Nigel. What your name? Your name over there, so with my name. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me change this. Pastor Nigel. Oops. Our team. All right. Change this so and do so. All right. So now I'm here and you're over there. Good. Welcome indeed to the studios of Love 101. All right, Robert and Jenny. So we are ready for the feature behind the pulpit. And we're going to go behind the pulpit. I'm still having a little echo something happening. I don't know why. I soon fix it though. But we're going to go behind the pulpit with my longtime friend, Reverend Nigel Martin from the New Testament Church of God. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
Him going on like him nervous. Pastor Nigel come down at a church, the other day and preach up a message, and preach it good too. I tell you, it was really good. But Reverend Nigel hails from a family greatly involved in ministry. He answered to the call of the Lord as a teenager and has dedicated his life to fulfilling God's mission for him through helping others. That's interesting. He serves as a National Men's Ministry Director for the New Testament Church of God in all of Jamaica. Oh, you manage that. And Director for the Men's Ministry for the New Testament Church of God in the Caribbean, where he oversees 19 territories. All of that, you one uncle. Reverend Martin has served the New Testament Church of God both at the local church level and in several capacities at the national level. He has dedicated much of his life to helping young people across Jamaica identify and live out their purpose. Reverend Martin is driven by his personal motto. What it say?
The breadth of my achievement is dependent on God's grace and direction, my obedience, and my commitment.
You really know it for true.
Yes.
He has had the distinct pleasure of ministering outside the borders of the New Testament Church of God. And you can jump on YouTube and Facebook to see us, all right? Both locally and overseas. Reverend Martin is committed to serving the fellow men and his fellow men and has fully committed himself to ministry. He believes his greatest achievement in life is his partnership he shares with Katie and Roberts Martin, the love of his life, and his 3 children, Nigel Anthony, Hope, and Noah, the only ones with the right to drive him crazy. Me not see my name, Camilo. Welcome to Behind the Pulpit.
Thank you.
See, because I know much about him, Yashika, just help me, just forgive me if I kind of turn this upside down. When did you know the call of God was on your life to go to full-time ministry?
I think I was a teenager, and there was a night when the late Dr. Ronald Blair done a baptism.
Yeah.
And I went to his office, and he put the baptismal gown on the chair back. So I put it on. Mm-hmm. And when I put it on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon me very strongly. And he came out the restroom and he said to me, whenever you're ready for Bible school, you need to let me in. Mm-hmm. And that started a journey towards ministry.
Just like that.
Just like that.
You just put on the 19 Falafel coat, you jump on. And by that time, about how old were you at that time? And what were you doing in terms of ministry? Because I remember you were part of the men.
So at that time, I was about 18, somewhere around there, 17, 18, and I was involved in youth ministry at church. I was basically doing everything except being in the women's ministry at church. I was just involved. I love being at church, actually, and so I spent a lot of my time there just volunteering myself to different things.
Where do you think that came from?
Volunteer.
Just you being like doing church and making it easy.
I think because I grew up in a context where, my grandparents, the late Celestina Jackson and Isaiah Jackson, I grew up with them, and a little of my life was spent in the country, and we were very much involved in church, and we always had to be there. And I tell the story that there was a time when my brother and I, my big brother and I, Kerry, we were cooking with bamboo fire, and the fire was so hot that the oil, we were trying to take the pot out of the fire, and the pot burned me, and I threw it up in the air. It fell, and the oil burnt me on top of my instep. And I thought that this would mean I would have to stay home. But my grandmother said to me, you're going to walk to church. So I walked to church. I couldn't wear slippers. I couldn't wear shoes. And I walked 2 miles to church.
Wow, would it
burn with that big boil on top of it until my foot healed.
Wow.
I just had to go to church. And I think I developed a love for just being in the house of the Lord. I found it to be a place where, it was peaceful. A lot of joy was there. Just fellowshipping with other individuals also helped me to develop a love for the house of the Lord.
Yeah, wonderful. That's why you see it's good that parents send their children or actually take their children to church for that experience, because out of that, look at you. Now, you were also involved. I'm trying to remember positive.
So I had a little one link with positive.
What is my one link? All the time in a positive.
I always wanted to be a part of positive, but sometimes time would not allow. So I remember a cantata that I was able to
participate.
Positive. That was a joy to my heart.
I don't know why in my head you were just like with them for a long while, but now that you're saying it, indeed. So your love for ministry grew out of your grandmother sending you to school, to church, and when your love for going to church and being in church. When did your love for God, that private relationship with God, when did that begin?
Okay, so I think that started very early. I started having these dreams, and I would share my dreams with my aunt, who was also a part of Waltham Park Church, and she used to tell me that the Lord is calling, but I'm a young boy. I didn't take that for anything. And I think at 8 years old, I decided I wanted to serve the Lord. I wanted to make a commitment, but I was told I was too young. And that kind of broke my heart. So at age 15, I'm planning that I'm going to bad now. And, one morning, I heard about the death of one of my schoolmates. He was pushed from a bus, and that struck me that morning at 15 years old. And I said, boy, this could be me. And I went to the back of my mother's yard, and they have a cherry tree at the back. And I went there and I started talking to the Lord about my own life, that, I'd grown up in the church, but if I were to die, I would make it. And I made a commitment then. It was July 25.
Wow.
1994. I made a commitment to follow the Lord. And, every year up until that cherry tree died, I went there and recommitted myself to the Lord, because I
and
told
what age was this?
This was when I was 15.
So whoa, because this is really big for me, for a teenager at not 18 but 15, realizing the importance of making a commitment. You were surrounded by mothers who prayed, and grandma and auntie and cousin, everybody who prayed, and strong people. I salute you on that, Pastor Nigel. I really salute you, because that's a big something that Natty Edwards online says, I love that grandmother of yours, Pastor. I wish I had But I wish those grandmothers still exist. Thank you for sharing that, Natty. Reminding you that you can come on. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. So let's get to, when did you find your favorite Bible verse? What's your favorite Bible verse?
Oh my favorite
Your favorite Bible verse then.
My favorite Bible verse is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Philippians.
It is a part of what shapes my motto, what guides me. I really believe that, whatever it is, that as I live in obedience to God, that there's almost anything that I'm able to accomplish and achieve. I really believe my obedience to Him and my commitment to seeing it through can reap the success that's there.
Yeah, beautiful. If you were to have dinner with any figure in the Bible, this is fun stuff now, breaking up for a minute. Who would it be and why?
Wow. If I could have dinner with anyone in the Bible, I would want to talk with David. Either David or Joseph. Yeah. Why? I think looking at David's life and all that he went through, David was a young boy who many did not think in his family that he could amount to anything. But God had a plan for him. But also, while God had a plan for him, I recognize that David was human and he made errors along the way.
Yeah.
And in making those errors, he usually found himself going back to his God. And I want to engage him on that. What was it like, when you found yourself in those moments of a disconnect from God, not living out your purpose, how did you get back to that? I also feel Joseph is somebody else I would do a dinner with, because his life again is one where you're in a context where you're not seen as the person that could emerge, but God somehow takes you out of that. And I want to know, boy, Bridget, why did you could have had anything, but you decided to just do the God way, and
and God was with Joseph.
Yes,
and David had a heart after that. Really beautiful. What's your favorite way to relax?
My favorite way to relax right now at this stage of my life.
Because listen, hold on. Let me just go over this. People of Jesus. He's in charge of the men's ministry across the whole of Jamaica. How many churches in Jamaica? 301. 300 how much?
60 plus.
Mighty God. So we're near to 400. Nearer to 400. And then you have 19 territories in the Caribbean. And you are a young man-ish. How do you find time to do all of this, and what's your hobby?
So my hobby is actually, I love to read.
That's so like Daddy.
And I also like to drive. I like to drive to places.
Yeah.
I love food, so I would always find me at wanting to be at some food place. But in my times when I'm not out on the road or doing ministry, I also like to be with my family, and that's one of the things that it's kind of a mixed thing, because one, I got young children, they drive you crazy, but I still want to be around young children, even though they're driving me crazy. So I'm trying to balance. Okay, should I be with them? They're going to drive me crazy. But out of it springs these memories, and I said to my wife that whatever time I'm able to connect and be with my family, that's what I want, because that's lasting memories. When I'm gone, my children will remember that my father used to have time here and stuff like that. So
I love that. You talk about Katie, and I love in the introduction. You believe your greatest achievement in life is your partnership that you share with Katie. And I told you one time, I don't know if you remember me saying to you one time, I heard him, I was looking for Katie in church. And I said, where's Katie? And then you turned to me and he said, my Katie. I love that. How did that love bloom? I know it's not to happen to whole, but you don't have to be.
Well, I can say, Kenan and I went to the same church, Waltham Park, and we never knew each other.
Yeah.
And my youth director, Garfield Hogarth, I was going to take over the youth fellowship, and he told me about this young lady that would serve as secretary to the youth board, to the youth fellowship board. And I said, I don't know her, but I knew her aunt well.
Okay.
And the day we were in a boardroom waiting for the meeting to start, and she walks in to the boardroom, and I turned to my best friend, and I said to him, I said, I don't know what it is, but that girl and my future are intertwined.
Whoa.
Something happened when she walked in.
Yes.
And I just turned to him and I said, I don't know what it is, but what I do know is that somehow our futures are intertwined, and God just connected us.
Wow, amazing. And I love, as I told you, I love that day when you said my kid.
Yes.
And they weren't married as yet. I don't know if you remember that. You weren't married as yet. I think you were engaged. But I love it. We're talking with Pastor Nigel Martin. We're talking about his life. We're going behind the pulpit and all about, how he manages. And it's like, you can imagine, juggler.
Yes.
How you manage all of those things? So, do you love it? Do you enjoy? You have to.
I love engaging with men's ministry. I think it gives me an opportunity to encourage men to be all that they can be, to call young boys to look at godly examples and to take on a posture of those examples that they're seeing, to help them just have a good perspective on life and living how God wants them to live.
You know what is strong? Yeah. Your own testimony.
Yes.
About deciding at 15-ish that you're going to make a commitment, and then going back to that territory.
Yes.
Every year for however long to recommit. That is big. That is big. Natty, all right enough. Natty says, Pastor loves love your passion for God, business, and his people. I pray God gives you long life with health and strength to continue the great work. Grown and developed as a but you're not a pastor, really.
Not right now.
Right.
So I would say my church is
with everybody.
I pastor him. Yes.
Them hard feet.
Yes, it is one of the hardest things that I have done in my life.
Man say it.
No, it is.
Ladies, go on.
It is hard.
Well, why is it though?
I think because men like to be in charge, and I think sometimes it's difficult for men to give up the reign, right? And when you are trying to get, because of different mindsets and what people may want, it's difficult to try and get everybody together at the same time. Sometimes when I look at the women, they could just say, we're going to pray now, and all women just come together. You say to the men, we're going to pray now, and what time are we going to pray? How long are we going to pray? It's different. And it can be challenging, but it's very fulfilling when I see the lives that are impacted as I'm on this journey.
Wow. What would you say that is your biggest challenge? Or if not, what would you describe as your biggest challenge or a big challenge that you faced and overcame?
I think a big challenge for me, doing the Lord's work, as much as it has its challenges, I don't think it gives me the challenge that I think I could say that thing could hit me down. I think where I think I'm challenged is being my own life, personal life, ensuring that I don't just get behind a pulpit and speak a word, but my own life doesn't match that word that I'm speaking. I think that is where the challenge is, because I have to wrestle with my humanity and also wrestle with my commitment to God, wrestle with my commitment to family and my friends, and trying to bring all of those together at times is challenging. And I'm one of those that I try to be as open as I can be with those within my space, so that if I'm challenged, I'm challenged.
Oh yeah.
I don't hide behind the pulpit and my color. You know, there are real issues that confronts me, and I have to make a decision as to, you know, am I going to please myself, or am I going to do it the way that God wants me to do it? And sometimes I would walk and I'd probably kick a stone and say, why did I not do it that way? And I have to be reminded, you know, you're not doing it for yourself, but for the Lord. Yeah. So that's where the challenge is.
Wow. But you are still going back to that.
So I still every year I still do my commitment.
The same July.
July 25 every year I make my recommitment. Because
where do you go, like to the sea or?
No, I'm right in my mother's backyard.
You go back around there and write your retreat.
Yes, because I made a vow to the Lord that
my God,
if He could only hold me by a thread, I'm willing to stay the path, you know, just by a thread, regardless of what happens in my life. The many times I've booked my toe along the road, the challenges that I've faced, I keep recognizing that God, and I asked the Lord, you know, I said, Lord, you know, there are many people out there. Why do you love Nigel? Because, boy, if I were the Lord, I probably would not take Nigel. But for some reason, God chases after me. And in response to his chase, I try to ensure that I stay connected to him.
You're amazing.
Just
God is amazing.
Yes.
I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. And I really hope our listeners, I hope that you are blessed as well. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. We started late, so I'm going to make sure I make up the time. You're tuned to Love 101 FM, the family station. Back in a moment, it's 3:30.
Pizza or burgers? The bucket starts now. Pizza strikes first, but the burger fires back with a right hook. Pull out the bottle. I'll take both and enjoy some pizza and full of starters. Your flavor, your rules. Pepsi, thirsty for more.
Are you looking for unbeatable deals? Look no further. Pulpit is having a super sale. March 19 to March 30. Visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Discover amazing deals on hardware items, electrical items, chandeliers, flood lamps, LED bulbs, and much more. You cannot afford to miss this deal. Shop and save at the Fossridge Super Sale. March 19 to March 30. Only at Fossridge. Open Sunday.
Where you go, anytime you need, look around. Multi-link is there. We can easy, it's safer than cash. So when it's time to pay, multi-link's the way. Oh, we couldn't run for an emergency or special treat. It's like a fingertip, 24/7 way better. With multi-link, you're all
looking at the light. We've been here for 25 years and we are
Guardian Life.
just getting started. Leading the way every day, protecting you and yours at every stage.
Guardian Life.
Looking at the light, caring for family, caring for you. Looking at the light, there's no way to.
For every generation, for every stage, your partner for 25 years. Guardian Life.
Looking at the light.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Since the month of January 2025, the Spanish Town Depot has started 5 new in Clarendon.
The new JUTC route is a game changer. It's affordable, comfortable, and so convenient. I can get to and from work, no hassle. The government, I look out for it.
We're grateful here at Chapitan for JUTC to extend their service to us, where our students can come to school and go home safely in nice, clean, comfortable environments.
I am grateful for the JUTC bus because it is safe and it is even safe for the students to travel.
Spring into savings with incredible deals from Home and Things. Whether you're upgrading your home or refreshing a room, don't miss these unbeatable deals now in full bloom for the best in tiles, bathroom fixtures, and faucets, windows, doors, vanities, lighting, and more. Home and Things is budding with discounts. So shop now on Hope Road and Constant Spring Road. Spring into savings and take home the deals from Home and Things.
Let's sing up his mercies, walk in his footsteps all that day long. Let's
We're back. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen, I really hope, people jump on YouTube and Facebook and share on WhatsApp if you are being blessed by this testimony. I am just really blessed. I've known Nigel for so long and seen him in ministry when I opened up, I was telling you that he preached at Waltham Park the other day and it was just so amazing. But how do you, I know you say you do the recommitment thing, which is big. For me, that's big. That's huge. As a man, you started it at 15 and then you are telling me now that you maintain it. How you tell the man them to start something and maintain it? Especially a vow with God. I think that you're a David and a Joseph.
Interesting. Well, every opportunity that I get, especially there are a number of young men that I mentor and have this personal relationship with, and I will pull persons out and we have conversations. And my conversations is to help these young men. There are some young women who are in there as well. Is to recognize that you first have a responsibility to the Lord, and that responsibility is bigger. So whatever you're doing, just remember you have a responsibility to the Lord. Right. And if your God-centeredness is off, then the rest of your life is going to be off. And anytime I've recognized my own journey, I've seen it in others. Anytime our eyes shift from the Lord, even for a second, we find that all kinds of crosses and devastation come towards our lives. And so my encouragement is always, guys, stay the path, stay the path. Whatever is happening, stay the path, because you don't want to lose your way or your focus at this time.
What self-care practice do you have? When how do you take that time off and just go and
that is the struggle of my life. I was talking to my brother.
Sorry, I'm talking to the right now.
I was talking to my brother Jason today, and I said to him, every time I get a break from school, I go back to walking. And I said to him, I need to do my walking. As soon as this class that I'm doing now breaks,
oh my goodness, it's so like talking to me.
Then I have to go do the walking. Yeah. And my children, my wife are very encouraging. My daughter helps to keep my mind in a good place. She will not say, "Daddy, you're getting fat." She will just say, "No, my father looks good," and good encouragement. Yeah. My wife is usually there. I mean, she wants me to get up with her and exercise before we go to bed, kind of thing. I'm telling her, babes, I'm tired. I do it in the morning.
Like that.
And once she sets her mind to something,
but
she
you are doing it with the tree.
And man, I'm telling you,
just because that's once a year.
But it is one of the things. But one of the things for me though is that I usually take a break to just rest and relax away from stuff. So every summer and December period are rest periods for me. I take the time off. I spend that time.
Do you go up to the mountain
with my family? No, I don't go up to the mountain.
No, but figuratively, in terms of seeking.
So every December when it's my birthday, I have, so on my birthday, my wife knows I don't go out on my birthday. My birthday is actually spent reflecting on my journey and my journey with God. Where am I? Have I, over the last year, have I done what I'm supposed to do? Where have I made errors? What do I need to correct on my journey? So that is something that my wife and children know. Every birthday, I just want this time to spend with the Lord, and they allow me that time.
Right. I love it. I love it. Absolutely beautiful. I love how you have intertwined your family in the discussion. So I don't necessarily have to go to, can you tell us about your family and how they support your ministry? Well, that's a different question. How do they support your ministry? Give you the time to think.
They travel with me. Sometimes when I'm going out, they're there with me. They allow me the space to try and work through what I need to work through. I love when my children are in Bible studies, when I'm doing Bible studies, because they're very enthused. I watch my children, they take notes. If I'm doing evangelistic,
how old are they?
10 and 11
and
1. Yeah, man.
He used to plant a cherry tree.
They take notes and they ask questions when I'm teaching Bible studies.
Have you told them about your experience with the cherry tree?
My children know.
Plant one cherry tree. My word, don't think that. Plant one cherry tree and watch. I love that.
Yes. So they're very much a part of it. My wife will help me. If I preach, my children will say, "Boy, Daddy, you are so prepared." My wife will say, "Well, that's a good word, Well, that's another angle about it." And I would say to her, "Well, you're my wife. You're supposed to tell me things." And she said, "Well, no. If you didn't do it well, then I wouldn't tell you." But they're very much a part of the journey, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. How would you encourage men as we wrap? Both young men and men, because that's your life, your focus now. I've been encouraged. I hope not just men listening, but everyone who've been tuning in would have been encouraged. But what's your word, specific word now?
To men.
To men.
One is to recognize that you have been created by God for a divine purpose. Every one of us as men have a divine assignment. Our assignments are not all the same. So there are some of us who will have pulpit ministries. There are some of us who it is in our entrepreneurial space that God has assigned us to do something for Him, to advance the kingdom. And we have to recognize that purpose is already written on our DNA. It's a part of who we are. And our responsibility is to now ensure that knowing that God has given you purpose, that you connect yourself to God. And as you're God conscious, God centered, then from that place you are able to touch the lives that are within your space. Seek to make an impact. Seek to impact the children that you have with the word of the Lord. That for me is critical, because you're looking at generations. My parents are great when it comes out. They ensured that we were in church. They ensured that we were prayed for. They ensured my grandparents were the same thing. My aunts they're there, and so you have a legacy. It's not money, but it's a legacy that we can stand on, a foundation. And I think that foundation, for men out there looking at your son, your daughter, think about what you want that boy to become, what you want that girl to become, and ensuring that your life becomes that first position that they're able to go back to and reference and see. Give your children things that may help them. I give my son a book to read, and the book has to do with being a man. And he's reading this book, and every time he reads it, he would come and he said, "Daddy, I see this inside the book, but that is what you're doing as my father." And I said, "Okay, good. Remember, make note of what you're reading." And I think he has a good understanding at 11 as to what kind of man you ought to be.
Yes.
Because I'm looking at, when I'm gone, I want my children to to have a foundation that can keep them
Yeah.
in this world. And
Have
that's
a
my
purpose,
encouragement.
yeah.
That's my encouragement to men. You have a purpose.
A big encouragement.
Just
You ever
work
on
the
mailbox?
purpose.
You need to put on mailbox. Naomi says, such an inspiring testimony. Let me highlight you, Naomi. Naomi says, such an inspiring testimony. Herma says, happy you continue with your faith. May God continue to bless and protect you. Sister P from Toronto. Oh, man, them not commenting. You don't understand. Sister P says, this is a powerful man of Yah. The home is the first mission field. May Abba keep you sheltered under his mighty wings. I am blessed. You really blessed us this afternoon, and I thank you for coming here, for pausing. Pastor Nigel used to be our go-to person for questions for the first ever, and going into the when it was sponsored and we go road for the Fellowship Fridays Bible Quiz competition. Yes. You were one of those persons that we used to create the questions. One back we could go to him and ask him for questions and so forth. You were talking about the book a while ago, and you know what I remember? You know what I remember?
I mean something, but I'm listening to see.
That's a great book. That's a great book.
Yes, it is.
All right. Thank you so much, folks, for listening. And thank you so much, Pastor Nigel. I'm really proud of you as your friend. And can people get in touch with you to preach? He preach good. He's very solid. Yes, he's a very good preacher.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is it.
Yes.
That is it. Okay. Him going on like he's shy.
No, I'm shy.
Thank you so much. All the very best. Blessings.
Thank you.
Pastor Nigel Martin.
Let's sing of his mercies, walk in his footsteps. All that day long. Let's stand up and live. How he gave the sun.
Auntie Nadine, good afternoon. I would like to send out